Good morning, everyone. Yes, it's back again. It's new every morning. I am your host, Tim Koger. I am producer and director of this podcast, and I am excited to be back with you on a Monday morning. It's March. We've made it to March. It's March 2nd, 2026, and you are looking live in Central West Virginia, where it looks like a spring-looking day. It's kind of cloudy, not too cold, and I'm excited to be here with you this morning. I got some really interesting stories I'm going to share with you. I'm going to now ask the producer or the technical person of this show to start bringing down the music. He's very efficient at that, as you might guess. So I hope you guys are having a good morning. If you're up, if you're watching this at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you've already got some hours in. I'm hoping you're having a good day. It's going to be a great week. I'm telling you, this is going to be a great week for you. All right. But anyway, I got a quote at the beginning of this. It is going to be a great week. It's going to be a great week. I'm looking forward to this week. It's going to be an exciting week. Lots of things are going to happen. Things I don't know are going to happen that are going to be great. There may be a few challenges, and that's okay. I can deal with that. It's not a big deal. But it is going to be a great week. And I have a quote from you at the very beginning of the day. Okay. Now, remember, this podcast is on my personal Facebook page. I want to move it to its own home. So there is a Facebook page called It's New Every Morning. And my goal is to move it there soon. There's some parameters I have to meet to do live Facebooks on that site. So please go to It's New Every Morning and follow it. You don't have to watch it, although I love it if you do. But go follow it so I can get my following numbers up high enough I can do lives there. So anyway, that's one advertisement for the day. Good morning, Mary. Nice to have you along. It's pretty nice here in the valley this morning. Not too cold, kind of overcast, but the days are getting better and better, and I'm excited about that. And longer and longer. I noticed yesterday evening the sun was up just a little bit longer than the last time I noticed, so I'm excited about that. Good morning, Tom. Nice to have you along. It's going to be a great week. And let me give you a quote. This is from Dean Smith. Now, if you don't know who Dean Smith is, he was a very famous basketball coach for the North Carolina Tar Heels for many, many years. And he had a quote that I think that we need to hear sometimes. And the quote is, "A lion never roars after a kill." What does that mean? A lion never roars after a kill. Well, I'll tell you what I think it means. I think it's a great quote, and it says, it basically says, stay humble after your victories. After you win at something, you don't have to, flaunt it and this and that and that kind of stuff. So stay humble, because the next time you may not win. So a lion never roars after a kill. I didn't know that, but I can believe it. It does the roaring on the front end of the project, not at the back end after the victory. So stay humble, but be sure and roar when it's time to roar, okay? So I got a couple little tidbits of stuff here that interest me, so I hope it's interesting you. I don't know a lot about Saturn, the planet, not the car or anything else, but and I knew that it was big and all that kind of stuff, but do you know, and maybe you do know, but do you know that Saturn has 274 moons? 274 moons. I mean, think about it. If you're, good morning, Janet. If you are on Saturn and you look up, it's like, the sky is going to be plastered with moons. There'll always be moons up, day and night. 274. Are you kidding me? They're everywhere, and you don't know which one, the man the moon lives in, for example. I mean, which one is it? Who knows? Also, Titan is the largest moon of the 274, and it is bigger than the planet Mercury. That's how big it is. So, I don't know. That's pretty much useless information that I found interesting. So now you get to hear it. Okay. Speaking of somewhat useless information, unless you work for Burger King. My next story is about Burger King. It is testing an AI powered headset that can do things like recite recipes or alert managers when things are getting inventory and stuff's getting low. Now the system collects data and shares it with a voice named Patty, and it talks to employees through the headsets. Because you see them with headsets all the time. Well, like for example, if a particular drink machine is getting low on a particular thing, it will tell you, hey, your Dr. Pepper's getting low or whatever it is. Also, if somebody reports a messy bathroom on the system, Patty will tell the manager about all that stuff. Okay, and that's great for the manager, and that's good, interesting information. However, if you're an employee there, it can also track how friendly you are with the customers. So now all you unfriendly employees that never say thank you or you're welcome, AI is going to track you, at least at Burger King. And who knows, if it works at Burger King, it will be everywhere. So you employees, be nice, all right? That's my advice to you today. Okay, let's try to get into some serious stuff a little bit anyway, as best I can. A UC Davis health research team has safely performed the world's first spina bifida stem cell treatment on an unborn baby. Unborn. Now, this kind of therapy doesn't just repair, but has potential to heal and protect the development of the spinal cord. So if this works, spinal bifida is going to be much helped. And other things too. I mean, this is just the beginning. I mean, they've already done some surgeries to unborn babies. This is not the first one of those, but this is the first one that they that they have done on spina bifida, and they think that it's available for all kinds of things. So let's help out those unborn babies. That's pretty cool. Okay, so what is the Secret Service? What is the Secret Service? Well, it's a federal law enforcement agency that is under the Homeland Security and has two jobs. Homeland Security has two jobs currently, as you'll learn. I have a little bit of history on that. It's to protect the nation's leaders, presidents, vice presidents, the leaders. I don't know who all. It protects them. And it's also to investigate things like counterfeiting, fraud, cyber attacks, stuff like that on the national security. So that's the Secret Service's job. Now, a little bit of history. The presidential protection wasn't at the beginning, okay? When it started, it wasn't protecting presidents, as you will see. The presidential protection didn't start until after the assassination of President McKinley in 1901, and he was really popular. And so we got all these presidents getting killed. We got to find some way to protect them. Let's start a new agency. And lo and behold, they'd already started the agency back in 1865. So they finally thought maybe we should use this agency to protect the presidents as they're getting killed. So I don't know. Now, the really neat part of this story, and the reason I'm doing this story, is the agency was started in 1865, and it was started because of counterfeiting. Good morning, Donna. It was started because of counterfeiting. There was rampant counterfeiting going on in 1865, apparently. I wasn't there, but I don't think anybody's listening was. But you want to hear something really wild? So Abraham Lincoln signed legislation creating the first ever Secret Service. Okay? Later that day, he was assassinated. On the same day that he signed up for Secret Service, that would eventually protect presidents. It wasn't able to protect him. So I thought that was really interesting that he signed that on the same day. That's the reason I did the story. I did the whole story because of that. Hope you liked it. Anyway, so we all watch TV. I mean, you've watched TV in the past. If you don't watch a lot now, and that's okay. You do what you do. But everybody's watched like 20-minute sitcoms. Of course, 20 minutes plus the commercials and stuff, or 40-minute dramas and stuff like that. Well, get ready for a micro drama, which I guess is already here. Hollywood's latest trend is full TV series made up in 1 to 3 minute episodes. The episodes are only 1 to 3 minutes long. Now, there may be somebody listening to this that has already been watching these, because I guess they're already out there. I didn't even know they existed. I don't know if you did or not. But it's designed for people to watch, like on their phone, when they're kind of like standing in line at Walmart or wherever, and the line's long, or, maybe they're at lunch and they got a short lunch period, but they got a little something to entertain them, or, you're in between meetings or resting between projects or whatever, just a little short thing, because short is very trendy. It's social friendly, it's cost efficient, and it's data driven, because they've seen, short dramas make up $1.4 billion in the U.S. last year, according to a consulting firm called Owl and Company. So this thing's already rolling, and, I'm not watching them. For no particular, I'm not against, first of all, I'm not against micro dramas or whatever they're called. But I don't know that I watch it. But, these kind of things are happening. Short things are quick and lean, and, they don't take, they don't take extra takes. In a movie and stuff, they may take a bunch of takes on one project. With these kind of things, they don't do that, because they're short and they just do one shot. Because people are looking for quick, easy entertainment. Okay? Now, here is a commercial. Okay, it's my commercial. I don't normally do commercials, but this is an example of shorts. Okay, I'm going to give you an example. Okay, so I started this YouTube channel called Tim Koger is Here to Help. That's the name of it. Tim Koger is Here to Help. All right, that's the name of the YouTube channel I started, and I put my first ever video on there yesterday afternoon, late in the afternoon yesterday, and I did a short. For people that don't know, those are YouTube videos and other people's videos that are less than a minute long. So this video I put on there is less than a minute. All right. Now it's entitled, okay, the one I put on there is entitled How to Open a Stubborn Jar and Why It Works. That's the title. All right. I just stuck it on there because I've been wanting to do this for months, actually, about this project. And so I decided to do it, and I did it. And so I looked this morning, right? Now, no one knew about this. My wife knew. I don't think anybody else knew that I put it on there. So this is not, I haven't advertised this, or nobody knows it. It's just people randomly going through YouTube finding it. I looked this morning. It already has 277 views. Now, why do they view this? Well, first of all, when you go through shorts, it's not going to be more than a minute. Minute is long. Mine's not even a minute. It's like 40 seconds, I think. I don't even know how long it is. So people know that they're not going to get stuck. Because, you ever get on and watch a video on YouTube or anywhere, Facebook, anywhere, and it seems like it just goes on forever. They just talk and talk and talk. And finally you're like, oh my gosh, I can't handle this anymore. I just get off. I want to get some information, but I want the information. Well, shorts are 1 minute or less. And so 277 views, that just rocks me. But anyway, so that's that. And I'll be putting other stuff on there, shorts and long. I'll be putting some really long videos, like 5 and 10 minutes on there too, probably. But it's just something fun to play with, and I'm going to enjoy it. Okay, so I have one more story. This is kind of a serious story. In fact, it's not just serious, but it's something that struck me. I read some about this recently, and it struck me, and I said, that's something I want to talk about. And so this time of year is a good time to talk about it, as we're leading up to Resurrection Sunday, or better known as Easter. The man on the right side of Jesus had lived in sin his whole life as he's hanging there on the cross. 3 men hanging on the cross, the one on his right side. He had made, he'd rebelled, sin, life, mistakes, all that stuff. But in the last moments of his life, what did he say? And I quote, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." What a short statement, a short prayer, you might say. In that moment, everything changed. That little short prayer, what I'm calling a prayer, held, a lifetime of, works and knowledge in that just little short prayer. Okay, because he had done all this stuff awful. On that cross, at the end of a wasted life, God shows that salvation is not about how long your prayers are or how perfect they are. God wants humility and urgency and a heart full of, realness. This is called realness. I don't know what it's called. I'd write down realness. But that's what God's looking for. God's looking for trust, surrender, and repentance. Okay, that's what the Bible teaches us. And that transforms lives. And it doesn't have to be long. I mean, Jesus' response was as short as the man's prayer. What did Jesus say? He said, and I quote, "This day you shall be with me in paradise." See, he saw the man's heart. He heard the man's heart. It wasn't about all the things he'd done wrong. It wasn't about how long his prayer was. It was that he felt the surrender, the repentance, the trust that he had in this Jesus that was hanging. This man was hanging on a cross. Jesus was hanging on a cross. Why did he have trust and surrender in a man that was dying beside him? It just, it doesn't make sense. Well, it does make sense. I'll tell you why. It reminds us of something really important. Somewhere along the way, this man, someone had fed him seeds of faith into his life. Could have been a friend, could have been his mom. We don't know who it was, but someone had fed, because he knew who Jesus was, or he wouldn't have said this. And he believed in that Jesus was who he said he was. And so even though he hung on the cross, he was willing to say, "Jesus, remember me," because he trusted. And that one little prayer saved his life forever. So he had resisted. He had knew about Jesus, but he resisted Jesus for all that time. For time and time, he'd resisted him. But in the last moment, in his last chance, he stepped up and said a short prayer that changed his life forever. See, God's truth is we plant seeds. We don't know when they're going to grow, but they'll grow in perfect time. So don't underestimate, no matter how small it is, don't underestimate the influence that you can have in someone's life. It can be very small. It can be what you think is insignificant. And it can be short. It doesn't have to be long. But when you plant those seeds in people's lives, it may be years and years and years later before they sprout. In this man's life, someone had planted the seeds because he was trusting someone that was hanging beside him dying. And he still knew, he trusted, he believed that Jesus was going to his paradise and he wanted to go with him. And though he had lived a nasty, sinless life, he got to go. So plant those seeds. You just never know when they're going to grow, all right? So listen, you guys have a great week. Be blessed. I will be back Friday at 7:30 a.m. to give you some more information. You take care. Be blessed. I will see you Friday. Bye-bye.